Member for Dartmouth Cole.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and happy to participate. Let's be clear, this is report stage of the bill. This is not third reading, as has been suggested by some members on the government side. And we're in fact now dealing with an amendment to the bill, and a very wise and reasonable amendment that was introduced by my colleague, the member from Burnaby New Westminster. And I thank him for that. And the amendment that we're actually speaking about today, the amendment that would apply to Bill S-5, is to delete Clause 212.39.1, which gives it's a clause which gives statutory immunity to the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Information in respect to any civil proceedings. And I would like to begin by suggesting that that this is an important amendment that we need to pay attention to. That the immunity resulting from the elimination of this clause, the deletion of this clause, would negatively impact the Office of Transparency and Accountability to the Canadian public. I think that's something we should all be concerned about. Time lost as a result of frivolous claims, which the government has suggested, does not justify such a radical measure. In the process of trying to remain transparent and open and reasonable and independent, Madam Speaker, we need to allow that there are going to be the odd complaint, the odd submission that may not end up seeing the light of the day or may not have basis. However, every Canadian that is dealing with the banking system, every Canadian dealing with any government-supervised, government-regulated system, bureaucracy in this country should have the opportunity to bring their concerns forward. And it's not up to us to decide that this complaint or that complaint is illegitimate until we have the opportunity to give those concerns a thoughtful review through a reasonable process. And that's my concern, is that this government is applying immunity to this office and to the officer simply because they would suggest that there's not enough complaints to warrant the attention. The final thing I think is the fact that this immunity, as suggested, would at best amount to an abdication of the superintendent's responsibility, and at worst to covering up serious errors that could have been avoided. So that's the point of this argument, of this amendment, is to deal with the whole question of transparency and accountability. And I would urge all members opposite to consider the value of ensuring that we not dismiss out of hand any concerns that may be brought forward by Canadians in relation to the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. My colleague, the finance critic for the opposition, the member from Burnaby New Westminster, the member who sponsored this amendment, also indicated early on, as we did at second reading debate, that the opposition would be supporting S-5. That we have given it some serious consideration, that we have examined it, and think that there is nothing particularly untoward, although we think that this amendment needs to address a flaw that we have identified that needs to be corrected. We have also introduced amendments at committee that we thought would add to the bill. And we have spoken, I've spoken, and my colleagues have spoken at second reading and at committee about the missed opportunity that this bill provided, that the the law provided that we needed to do this review. We need to have this review conducted by, I believe it's April the 20th, to comply with the Banking Act, that we needed to have this done. This provided, I would suggest, and we have suggested on numerous occasions, an opportunity for the government, if they were serious about important issues like consumer protection, to provide them with an opportunity to talk with Canadians about their concerns as it relates to the Banking Act, and to make changes that are necessary. We brought up a number of things, whether it's the outrageously high interest rates charged on credit cards, whether it's the banking charges that continue to go up, whether it's the various ways that within the system consumers are being nickeled and dimed out of tens, hundreds, literally thousands and tens of thousands of dollars every year. There are ways for us in this House and through this review to properly protect those consumers and make sure that the financial institutions that are covered by this Act are acting properly. Unfortunately, we missed that opportunity, and I, for one, have indicated to constituents that have brought it to my attention, I have indicated to them that I was sorry that the government missed this opportunity. And I'm also, I must tell you, disappointed that once again the government has not engaged in as fulsome a process of consultation as it could have. The consultation, frankly, was truncated. It was not transparent. That they did not hold public hearings. It was by invitation only. And we heard that they had 30 representations. Some of those were not even made public, not even shared with us on the website. Some were. Some organizations voluntarily agreed that their submissions should be public and made them so themselves. But this government held consultations where, frankly, were kept public or kept private, and that's unfortunate. And I don't think it's necessary. I think we can be much more forthcoming and trusting of Canadians, and recognizing that Canadians have a great deal to offer in discussions like this. We think to ourselves, well, this is technical. This is above average Canadians' head, this whole issue of financial institutions, the regulation of the banking system, and so on. Well, I frankly would suggest to you that if had not been Canadians understanding the consequences of the deregulation that was being proposed by the Martin government of allowing foreign takeovers of our banking industry, if it was not for the outcry of Canadians that we tried to represent in the NDP caucus here in debate, and others did as well, if it was not for the interest and the outcry of Canadians, we would have gone down a perilous track that would have seen us follow far too closely the problems that we saw in 2008 and beyond in the U.S., in Iceland, and in far too many European countries, where the banking system has been deregulated, and we've seen the kind of turmoil that's been created as a result of the lack of adequate oversight. And it's because I have that kind of confidence and faith in my constituents and Canadians to understand the value and the technical nature of issues like this that I get perturbed, frankly, by the government, whether it's the government or whether it's the members of the third party who were once upon a time in government here, who want to take credit for the banking system, the nature of the banking system that that has developed over the years as a result of experience, as a result of the wishes of Canadians and their representatives here in this House, that it be strongly regulated, that it be protected from the vagaries of global competition and foreign ownership, and that it was in much better and much more stable shape in 2008 and able to considerably weather the storm. Although let's not forget that the Government of Canada did spend $75 billion to buy up mortgages that were in threat by the Canada Mortgage and Housing, Madam Speaker. So as I wrap up, you indicate my time is done. I just want to say that I think we need to give Canadians much more credit on their knowledge on issues as important as the Banking Act.